What up, guys? It's your man, Elite. Happy New Year and welcome back to the Elite channel. Our girl Pearl went over there to Vice Debates and she had it out with a room full of feminists. Yeah, transgender feminists, regular women feminists. I mean, it was something to see. Shout out to Just Pearly Things for going over there and putting in work as usual. You know, usually when there's a bunch of women talking about something, I usually stay out of it because it really doesn't interest me and it doesn't concern me. But when they start talking about the so-called oppression that they face in society when it comes to men, and also the alleged advantages men have over them in this gynocentric culture, basically villainizing all men and playing the victims, then I have to call BS and chime in. And we're going to get into it. But first, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to the Elite channel. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button. Everybody hit that reminder bell so you know when I drop a new video. And go ahead and hit that like button. It helps the video out in the YouTube algorithm. And one more thing, guys. If you would like to support the channel or support the content, go ahead and bless that CashApp. The tag for CashApp is in the description and on the screen right here. And now, enough of the shoot around. Let's lace them up and go get it.
I think feminism is attempting to say, okay, the first thing we agree on is that there are barriers and friction to what I need and what I want based on the fact that I'm a woman. You have more barriers, you have more friction, you are less able to get what you want, you're undervalued in a way that's like, okay, well, you know, that's life. That's what I mean by equity, and that we're able to, without friction, all get the same needs met.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I disagree with that. I think life is easier if you're a girl. Actually,
Yeah,
I think there's a lot
advantage.
of benefits that men don't have. I'm not going to speak anything to race. I'm just talking about gender specifically. It's usually like an excuse. Like, honestly, I think as a girl, you have equal opportunity in the world. I think there's benefits. Like, for example, we have quotas for women in specific jobs that are given to us that aren't given to men. So yeah, I would say it's easier being a girl.
You're speaking as an able-bodied
white woman.
I
That is
understand.
white. Represents white.
Of course, there's going to be other barriers if you're disabled. I'm sure. Like I'm talking about as a woman.
So you're just going to ignore
white
the
women
pay
have it
gap.
easier. Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, you guys have no idea how difficult it was to even look at or listen to this video. And it was also difficult for me to sort of fish out the pertinent parts and put the main talking points together in a way that you can even understand it, because there was so much deflection and misdirection and so many detours off the topic that it was just painful to even try to put this together. And that's what happens whenever these feminists get together and talk about these kinds of things. They kind of wander aimlessly and rarely ever get straight to the point. But Pearl's main talking point there was that there are no real disadvantages to you just because you're a woman. And of course, right after she made that point, these feminists had to gang up on her and start shaming her, of course, saying that, well, you're speaking as an able-bodied white woman. Well, I don't think anybody in the Western world, including white people, would not agree that it's a little bit easier if you're white in the Western world than it is if you were another color. But the issue is that's not what we're talking about here. I mean, just like it's easier if you're not disabled than if you're disabled. And it's a little easier if you're taller rather than shorter in most professions. Just like it's a lot easier if your family was able to afford an Ivy League college education rather than just a community college education. I mean, life is not fair in those ways. That's just the way it is. And of course, these are inequities that are unfair to men in those scenarios as well, not just women. Men have to deal with them too. And to Pearl's second point there are actual quotas for companies to have to hire a certain amount of women. And not only that, there's millions and millions of dollars given out in government incentives every year for companies to hire women in certain industries where there are not enough women. So let's just keep it a buck. If we're strictly talking about opportunities in the workplace nowadays, there are a whole lot of opportunities for women. In fact, more opportunities than there are for the average man. These feminists, they just have to keep on repeating the same talking points that they've been saying for the last 30 or 40 years. Because it seems like to me that they don't want to be equal to men. They want to rule over men. Women in the Western world have gotten every single thing that the original feminists from 50 or 60 years ago said that they wanted out of this society. But these modern feminists have to keep on complaining and complaining about non-existent problems. It's just crazy. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
You're just going to ignore the pay gap, regulation over bodies.
The pay gap has been disproven and debunked.
The pay gap doesn't
endlessly,
exist,
my friend.
It doesn't. It's the industries that women pick.
Let's talk about it.
There's a pay gap, but it's because women don't want to do the hardest industries.
I don't think it's that simple. I think that's an oversimplification. I think the fact of the matter is that women structure their lives differently to men. Men don't give birth. Men don't have to carry pregnancies. Men don't have to be the primary caregiver most of the time. Women also don't hold jobs for as long as men do. They often will stop and start. They'll go back into work. They'll take time off. They'll take part-time jobs. The way that men work and women work are astronomically different. And to try to say that they're comparable is where this issue comes from. They're not comparable.
Two things.
The pay gap, the pay gap, the pay gap. It's like you can literally debunk things and show these people that they're demonstrably not true over and over again, and they will still keep on repeating the same things over and over. It's like they think if they repeat it enough, it'll become true. But that's not how it works. And this lady here in the beige sweater is the other anti-feminist on the panel. Out of 9 panelists, they only had 2 that were anti-feminists, which is kind of unfair, but she makes a great point, and shout out to her. But her point is that there are reasons built into women that make their experience in the workplace vastly different than men's experience in the workplace. And that's a valid point. But interestingly, the points that she laid out right there are the very reasons why there are and should be discrepancies in pay between men and women in the workplace. I mean, it kind of just defeats the feminist argument that women are just being given the short end of the stick in the workplace for no reason, right? And yeah, we all agree that men don't give birth, they don't carry pregnancies, and they're usually not the primary caregivers to their children. But on a side note, I find it very interesting that when men are the primary caregivers to their children, they still find a way to get up and get into work and put in 8 or 10 hours a day and work their butts off. Whereas women can't seem to make that dynamic work out for some reason. I mean, I had to do it as a single father to a daughter, and then a few years later as a widower with 2 boys. I had to get up every single morning and do what I had to do. There was absolutely no time to complain about anything. And to her last 2 points, women don't keep jobs as long as men do, and women take more time off from jobs than men do. Well, do you think that an employer is obligated to care about your personal life and any other dynamics or instabilities that are going on in your personal life? Well, no, they are not obligated to care, and in fact, they do not care. And I find it completely insane that feminists like this believe that they, as women, can take more time off from the job than men, but still deserve the same amount of pay as men who typically go in every day religiously, put in 8 or 10 hours and work their butts off. In what world should that happen? Look, running a business is about profit and benefit to the company. So if you're not able to show up consistently to the job like a man does, and you have things going on in your personal life that are affecting your job performance, then you're not as much of a benefit to the company as that man is. And you're not bringing in as much profit to the company as that man is. So why should you deserve the same amount of pay as that man?
First of all, let's dig into why they think that they should take these jobs, which is societal sexism. And then also, Department of Labor, all statistics, at least speaking in the US, have found that when compared for the same jobs, there still is a pay gap, particularly when it pertains to race.
Because 60% of women have never asked for a raise. So how can you complain about your pay if you don't ask?
Why are they not?
And Pearlie made another good point right there at the end. Women are nowhere near as assertive in the workplace as men are, especially when it comes to climbing the corporate ladder. Women typically never ask for a raise, even if they feel they deserve one. They would rather get mad, quit the job, and then move on to another job. And that factors heavily into this equation of so-called inequality. And then, of course, they have to bring up the issue of supposed lack of free will and agency, meaning that somehow in this society, women are not given the right to choose their own path. So the transgender feminist with the white hair seems to think that there's some people or some force in society that's just convincing women that they shouldn't be interested in certain career fields. And she calls it societal sexism. Well, nothing could be farther from the truth. In fact, we have all kinds of data and studies that show that women are generally just not interested in career fields that are usually populated mostly by men, including auto mechanics and things like police work and being a fireman and things like that. And not only those careers, there are all kinds of government incentives and scholarships to try and encourage women to go into STEM-related career fields. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math-related career fields, which are almost 100% chosen by men. Women are just not interested in going into those careers. And the thing is, those are all the highest paying careers. Women are way more likely to choose careers related to humanities or public social work or nursing or something like that. And so whose fault would it really be if this so-called pay gap actually did exist out there? I'm just saying. Well, I guess that's it for me. I'm going to shut it down. But before I go, everybody tap that like button on this video. And if you're new and you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the Elite channel. Also hit the reminder bell so you'll know when I drop a new video. Leave me a comment in the comment section. And if you would like to share this video on your social media, go right ahead. It's all good. Again, Happy New Year to everybody, and I will see you on the next video. This is your man Elite, and I am out.